I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 15. Let's focus on verses 11 through 15. And David called for Zadok and Abiathar the priests, and for the Levites, for Uriel, Asaiah, Joel, Shemaiah, Eliel, and Aminadab. And he said to them, "You are the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites. Sanctify yourselves, you and your brethren, that you may bring up the ark of the Lord God of Israel to the place I have prepared for it. For because you did not do it the first time, the Lord your God broke out against us, because we did not consult him about the proper order. So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of the Lord God of Israel. And the children of the Levites bore the ark of God on their shoulders by its poles, as Moses had commanded, according to the word of the Lord." Now, today's passage contains a bit of information that's usually passed over whenever the pastors are teaching this story of the ark's return. Now, typically, the emphasis and the application revolve around whether the ark was to be carried or carted. And then we become somewhat distracted by David's scandalous and near naked worship dancing, as would I, by the way, if my pastor were to do that on a Sunday morning. But in chapter 15, we notice David is rebuking the Levites, because the Levites either rebelled against moving the ark away from the tabernacle, so they didn't seek the Lord. They just were like, okay, whatever, let's go. Or number two, they were ignorant of God's requirements. First, let's consider God's command for the Levites to bear the ark, literally to shoulder the burden of transporting the Ark of the Covenant. No Levite should have been unaware of this most simple responsibility. We find it in Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 8. At that time, the Lord separated the tribe of Levi to bear the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord, to minister to him, and to bless his name to this day. So while we cannot be certain that the Levites were on board with the idea of David's kingship or whether the ark should be moved, 1 Chronicles chapter 13 gives us a clue as to the Levites' potential ignorance concerning how to interface with the ark. 1 Chronicles 13, it's 2 days ago's chapter, verses 2 and 3. David said to all the assembly of Israel, "If it seems good to you, and if it is of the Lord our God, let us send out to our brethren everywhere who were left in all of the land of Israel, and with them to the priests and the Levites who were in their cities and their common lands, that they may gather together to us, and let us bring the ark of our God back to us. For we have not inquired at it since the days of Saul." There's the problem. At some point during Saul's reign, the Levites stopped inquiring of the Lord at the ark. Hence, the people had not inquired of the Lord at the ark. Most likely they quit when God withdrew his counsel from Saul. We see this in 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 26. But Samuel said to Saul, "I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of the Lord." There's the root problem. "And the Lord has rejected you," there's God's response to the root problem, "from being king over Israel." So we too have a responsibility, by the way, to shoulder. And it seems that so many believers, so many churchgoers at least, in our generation have lost what it really means to take up your cross daily and follow Jesus. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And your giving to Groundworks Ministries transforms lives. Would you consider making a donation to Groundworks Ministries today? We need your monthly support now more than ever. Donating is secure and easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is to tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with your friends, your family, on social media even. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.